Uh, good evening, everybody. We are on Zoom tonight, are we not? So this is our quarterly community engagement committee meeting. I did send out an agenda via email. I think yesterday, last night, I can recall. Hope it wasn't this morning, but hopefully you guys have one in front of you. So, thanks everybody for coming again tonight. Appreciate it. I hope we get a couple more committee members in as well. And, so tonight, and I asked, Jeremy if he could pull together some folks from our water operation, which he's done, and I'll let these guys introduce themselves, but, you know, this utility, as you all know, as customers, provides water and electricity. And there is so much that goes into both of the operations on both sides of the house. And, you know, I'm always just infinitely impressed every time these guys give a presentation at a board meeting to really look at, you know, how intricate the operation is. And for those of us who live here, which is all of us, you know, and we drink our tap water every day, you know, and to date, I'm 56. I've not gotten sick from it yet. So, but you know, I mean, but there's a lot that goes into that, right? And we have people, you know, on the staff here that, you know, are highly trained, highly technical, and you know, the product that they are able to put out to this community at the price. And I know that we've recently had, you know, a rate increase, you know, that you all are well aware of. And, you know, that rate increase is in part to assist with, you know, updating our infrastructure. And, you know, everybody in this room knows, you know, a story about Pickett City, you know, that has had issues. And, you know, I guess I'll knock wood, Steve, but I don't have any on top of my head, but, you know, and because of the hard work and the dedication of our entire, you know, water department, we've not had those issues. And, you know, so as difficult as it is sometimes to, you know, stomach a rate increase, I believe prior to last summer's increase, the water folks had not had a rate increase in, I don't know if I'm going to get it right. I want to say 11 years, but I mean 10 years. And so, you know, that puts us, you know, behind in doing some updates and things like that. So I wanted these guys tonight to give sort of an overview on a couple of different areas. And I talk all day, so I'll turn it over to you folks.
Well, thanks. Rose asked us to put together some information, so Steve Green is here. He's the executive director of our water group, so he's got responsibility for the operations out in the city, pump stations out in the city, and then the water treatment plant as well. Steve's been here about 15 years, I think. I don't know, what is it, 30, almost 30?
Almost 36.
Almost 36
So you're going to say 15 too long.
So, and then with him is Marshall Robinette. Marshall is the director of operations over at Muncie, the field crews, the pump stations, those kinds of things. And then Philip Brown. Philip is one of our professional engineers that works in Steve's group and really has a whole bunch of responsibilities, things that deal with the pump stations, the distribution system, probably helps out the plant folks. He helps out the electric folks. He's a pretty talented civil engineer, so he wears a lot of hats sometimes across the company when we need help with various projects. So before I let Steve say a few words, we have given Philip has a presentation that he and Marshall have put together. They're going to go through. You have copies of that. We also have copies of the BPU connection that just came out not long ago. That includes all of the water quality data and some other statistics about our water system, our water plant, and some of the things we do because we have to, and some of the things we do that go a little bit past what we have to. And then just a quick, another one-page sheet. One side is in English, one side is in Spanish. Just about what the customer's responsibilities are with regard to the water service into their home or business. And so with that, Steve, you want to?
Again, my name is Steve Green, Executive Director of Water Operations. I've been in water for BPU about 31 years. The 5 years before that, I spent in engineering, kind of cross between electric and water. We're going to talk tonight about our lead and copper revised rule. This process for us is about 3 years, Philip. Yeah. A 3 years process. The EPA changed it, revised it. So we've been working on this for about 3 years now. October 16th is one of our deadlines. We got to have an inventory, Philip will talk about it, to the state. And every utility across the country is going to have the same deadline that they have to have this to the state. It's been quite a chore, that the crew, from the engineering staff to the distribution staff, and going through this process and collecting this and putting in our GIS. Like I said, we've got an outstanding team. A lot of times you don't see what the guys do behind the curtains, but our plant is state of the art. It's roughly 24 years old, 25 years old. It is truly state of the art. When it was built, there was no other plant like it across the country. We have a collector well, 2 collector wells. At the time when they were built, they were the largest collector wells to produce water in the world. They're now in the United States. There's a bigger one outside of the United States now, but they are kind of the jewel of what. So all the times that there's trouble, the river's up, all the trouble you hear about Missouri River, we never have to worry about that. We're 120 foot below it, so we got really good water supply that we, for the next 50, 60 years, will never worry about it. The plant is, like I said, we are doing some upgrades. It's time to change out some stuff, but it's going great. Work on that as we can. Distribution, like I said, Marshall's over our distribution staff. We were fortunate enough to get a grant last year or 2 years ago. I guess it's working on this project, getting it going. It's a $10 million grant to replace small water mains where we have a lot of breaks. Most of that work is happening in the eastern part of our community, south to north. And we've got the project layout laid out. I think Philip will talk a little bit about it tonight. Got a contractor aboard now, and we'll probably start that process hopefully in the next 30, 45 days. We're gonna start replacing some mains. I'm gonna is it Philip, you go first or Marshall?
Yeah. Here we go. We're just gonna get into it. Hey everyone, thank you for your time. I just appreciate all you guys doing what you do to be engaged in our community. Steve already gave a great overview of the water. I got a quick picture on the second slide, just showing some of the things they do throughout the community. It's kind of hard to tell, but some of those holes are really deep, and we do a lot of things throughout the community, from treating the water at the river all the way that kind of Steve already highlighted. I did want to cover 3 topics, 3 really high level things for you. And the first one is probably the water main replacement. So water main replacements is one of those things you see throughout the city, and this is one of our biggest impact to our customers, but it's of vital importance. What we're showing on the screen right now is the water mains we have replaced since 2014. We have replaced over 38,000 feet of piping throughout the city. Sounds like a really big number, but ideally in the last 10 years, we wanted to actually replace 52,000. So we do appreciate our board members' leadership on raising the rates that allow us to start going after that more. Steve's leadership and making certain that we got those grants to be able to do these small main replacements. You can't really tell, I should have highlighted different colors, but because of those grants, that's the only reason we even made it as far as we did. And we still have a long way to go. So what are we doing? So this is what Steve was kind of talking about, what's coming up. This is what's gonna hit our, not hit, sorry, this is what our customers are going to see, what our neighbors, our friends, our family members are going to see. It's really hard to see, but down there at the very bottom, there's these little bitty blue squiggly lines. Those blue squiggly lines in the Rosedale area, and some of them that kind of start getting closer to, that turning, sorry. On the west side of 635. Really highlighting, starting in that bottom right corner, close to KU Med. That's where we're gonna be starting the next 30 to 45 days, where we're gonna be spending for the next 6 to 9 months about $2 million to $3 million replacing water mains. These are, as you guys know, Rosedale is actually a very old part of our town. It's been around for a long time, and this is the area we want to get to some of these water mains. All of these water mains have been identified based off our asset management as places that we should only be visiting a site 2 breaks a year or less, right? We exceed that number a lot. So these are the water mains that we come back to way too frequently, make them repair. Without calling it to be brief. When we did this before in 2014, we saw such a significant drop in this area, improves system pressure for people, limits their disruptions of service. Every time we have a break, sometimes we have to shut the main down. That means people are in the middle of taking a shower, you have to stop. Replacing these water mains reduces those. But those are the mains to replace. We're gonna start in that bottom southeast corner. Then we're gonna go north into the northeast. We have a lot of mains, as you guys know, KCK is the whole city, and then we're actually gonna come back down to the south, to the west side of 635. And that's actually gonna exhaust $10 million. It goes a lot faster with. I didn't actually leave time for questions. I didn't know if before I go to the next topic, that's all I was gonna cover for main replacement. But if you wanna just keep your questions in mind, I'm open up for questions at the end. The next thing I was gonna go over really fast was our lead and copper rule revision. This is the topic that is in the news right now. This is the one that insurance leaders may actually know about. In fact, I think I listened to an article, we can listen to a conversation on NPR not too long ago. KCTV5 covered some things, but what is this action? So we have always known that, we have always known that lead is horrible, right? Lead is actually where we get the word plumbing from. That's where lead comes from. We always use it to do water lead pipes. It was used for thousands of years, essentially. We know the medical or health effects of lead. And this is the next step, the LTRR, lead copper rule revision, is the next step of getting that lead out of the water. What we're having here, what we're showing is, this is gonna be my first handout. This is actually an updated version of what we gave to Representative Sharice Cady. We started this, like we said, back in 2021, and it just highlights, it's a quick fact sheet, some of the challenges we're facing. So far today, we have not found any lead services during this inventory process. Now, I do know of lead services that we discovered in the 90s, for instance, and our process, our standard operating procedure has always been, if we come across those, they are immediately removed from the system and we do a full service line replacement. A lot of utilities don't do that, and that's actually one of the things that really help out right now. So just to give you an idea of the scope, the size of this problem, we started in 2021, 2022. We had staff going through over 40,000 something records. Actually, it's more than that. 240,000, maybe even 300,000 paper records from all the way back in the 1880s. So we're looking at stuff from 1880s. I love that my parents taught me how to read cursive. Worried about my kids not knowing how to read cursive. Those documents were in cursive. And, that's a skill that's going away. But we did that, and it is huge. Absolutely huge. There are cities struggling today, and that's only because of the leadership. They say, hey, this is something big problem. We need to get on this and get on it now. Just to give you guys a heads up, after that, in 2023, Marshall's group actually went out and visited 11,000 people's houses. 11,000. They went door to door, visiting each house, opening meter boxes, looking at what is this piping made of? Is this going to be safe, or do we need to do something to replace these things? This month, what we're working on now is actually doing our beta testing of our inventory that we got sent to the state. And we're also getting ready to publish our public facing map, which is gonna be a way for you and everyone else to go to this map. You can say, okay, let me go to my house, and let me see on the map, what type of material does BPU think I have? And then we're also gonna include information that if you know there's something else, and this is my second handout, this is a draft version, I haven't released this one yet. You guys are the first people to see it. If you have any comments, please tell me afterwards so I can improve it. But if you're in your house and you're like, you know what? Philip, on your website, you said you said I have a non-lead material, and clearly I have the lead piping. This document, it kind of goes through how to figure out if that is actually lead or if it's galvanized. We haven't decided to send this out yet. Right now, we have zero. I found zero evidence that people have lead services. Okay, that is huge, yeah. But we're still working through it. There's still a chance we're doing a deep dive. Steve is leading a very small group to go back and double check some data, say, hey, he identified like 300, 400 of them. He said, guys, when we gotta sit down, when we come together, we want to look at all this data. Let's see if we got it right. And so, but that just comes with leadership. It helps. I always say this, it's great to have age ranges on your projects. You want some young people in there so they can learn. You want some people who've been there for 30 plus years, so I can say, hey, I've been here before. Want to go down this road. All right. Going on. Consumer confidence report. I know I'm going really fast. And again, like I said, if you have questions, I'll slow down. I mean, we can come back to those. Your consumer confidence report, as Jeremy highlighted, is actually in our BPU connection. And I printed 2 of the pages I'm going to be talking about. But if you're on your computer or you're talking to somebody, you want to show where is this document, you can go to the BPU website and you can go to resources. Oh, sorry, I have to make it fast. I have to turn on. Oh, you can't see it.
That's why we were wrong.
Right, exactly. But you can go there and right there, there's water quality under resources and the water report section. And you're able to actually pull up not only this year, but you can go back to multiple years. Maybe you want to look at how water quality changes. One of the things Steve kind of mentioned is because we engineered out properties by doing a horizontal collector well, we have really stable water quality. That is phenomenal compared to other places where they have to dump all sorts of power activated carbon to treat different things, where flooding happens, or last year or a couple years back when the ice storms were happening, water quality actually went the complete opposite direction where it was too clear. Like, oh, no, what's going on? So a lot of challenges. The consumer connection report, the CCR is a really, really technical document. There's a lot of numbers on here. Here's my advice. If you have questions about it, I will do my best to answer. I probably won't be able to answer. Even though I think I'm the smartest, best looking guy in the whole world, professional engineer, I know I can't answer some of these questions. Water quality is really one of those really technical questions. And I will do my best to find a person. But here are things I do want to highlight. One, over to so let me actually read it so I can say it correctly. BPU is one of the top rated public utilities in the country and only one of the handful to receive the Partnership for Safe Water Growth. We also received the Platinum Award for Utility Excellence. We consistently exceed all state and federal guidelines. Your water is phenomenal. Right? It is absolutely phenomenal. In the news every day, you hear about different utilities. Their pumps go down. I think I was looking at Mississippi not too long ago. When their pumps failed, they had to place a whole city under FOIL order. They weren't investing money to keep up that infrastructure. This infrastructure is not cheap. But because of the investments we place in our city, we're able to have developments like all sorts of things out at the Legends or on the east side of town or wherever. It's because we have water. If you don't have water, your people are not going to come. I'm actually done. That's really it. I'm gonna open it up for questions. I really thank Marshall. Marshall, let me do all this talking. Like, Philip, you could talk this time, and I'm sure he'll talk next time. Yep, there we go. But really, his crews do so much throughout the city. He actually leads the largest group of employees in the water group. And so I'd be like, I call him like, Marshall, what is this? How do we handle this? Like, Marshall, what is this? And he just guys need help, so many different things. So I'm done, like I said, if you have questions, first I'm here, but if you have questions, I'm here.
Philip, how long will $10 million last in this project? How,
2 years, and that's us going slow. If we really wanted to, we could switch to some other projects and really spend that money a lot faster. But we're gonna space it out, and over the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, we're gonna.
But there's, the reasons why we spread it out also is that we may have a contractor that installs it, but our distribution staff is there doing all the testing. Then after it tests and passed all the tests for samples and it's come back safe that we can put it in, then they make the connections. Well, they got to do those. When we did this project back in 14.
Yep.
It's a lot of work goes in when you replace a lot of water main. Plus they have to keep up with what they already do with water main breaks, hydrants, valves, so all that. So there's just impossible if we're gonna have our staff be part of it, like the connections, that we have to spread it over a couple of years, this amount. So, it's probably gonna take us 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that we'll be through this 10 million. And also it all depends on cost. Material costs, we got our fixed, labor costs, contract costs, but material costs can shoot up. And like we saw a big spike in 20, well, it's finally starting to have to come back down, so it's a good time to replace. The other thing, the 15-year award that we got, this is a total volunteer project that our treatment plant took on roughly 15 years ago. And they give an award every 5 years. And this is a lot of stuff that it's not necessary. It goes beyond what all the EPA requirements are. We go way beyond. So they may say you need 4 tests a day. We're doing 15-minute tests to get this data. And so the staff that does that and then tracks all of it, because they have to track it all, and then turns in that report, and then we get approved. This year was 15 years. That's amazing. There's not a lot of utilities. There were 3 this year that got that award. There's only a handful that's ever got it. This partnership with Safe Water has been out about 25. Like I said, we joined it about 15 years ago. That is a real positive, what we do for our water, what our treatment plant people do. But for this project, lead and copper, this truly could not have gone where it was without Philip. Philip was the project manager, and I don't know where we'd be if we didn't have him running it. And then once we got through, Philip, how much did I tell you we saved?
Oh, I should have wrote that down.
It's over $10 million. By keeping this in-house, it's probably closer to $14 million we saved by doing it in-house. We knew we couldn't afford to take it out. So it's like, we've got to roll up our sleeves, and that included me, and to dive into the historical review of this, and then the staff of distribution to go out. And if they can't figure out what the service was, we had to dig a hole, back a hole out, and determine what it was. And we had a lot of those. We had a few thousand that they had to back out because we couldn't determine it. So that's how we did it. And like I said, I'm amazed every day when I see that we're going to meet our deadline. And if we would have had an unknown, it's okay to have an unknown and turn in your data. But what happens is it's considered lead. Even if you don't know what it is, considered lead. So what would happen is, if we would have to turn the water off on that street, and let's say there was a couple unknowns, we have to take them filters, leave them there, track them, and then sample their water over the next 6 months. And I can't imagine the nightmare of how many leaks, how much we shut water off, of my staff having to track that. So we went full into this and said, we're gonna get it done, and it looks really good. And like I said, we'll do a presentation at the end after we've submitted our data in October. So probably sometime in November, we'll give a presentation, Philip will, of the whole project. And like I said, I couldn't be more proud of my team.
How many years you been with us, Phil? Over 15. No, this is my 15th year. Yeah. Oh, so. You're 30. At the time, you just need to start them. Bring somebody else. So, yeah,
Philip did an internship when
Yeah.
it was still
awesome,
called.
awesome. Yeah, I started as an intern back in 2005. I used to actually run around, originally Marshall was here. It's really amazing just to see all these years of different people go through the organization.
And speaking of our engineers, we have 3 engineers, young engineers that we've hired. Phil's of course 15, but we've hired over the last, our latest is Aaron, all Sumner grads. Yeah, so we were really proud of that.
Okay.
These are all Sumner grads that we were, got their engineering degrees that we were able to hire. So,
I wanted to mention that I really appreciate all that you do. My family moved to Kansas City, Kansas from Italy. And the water source there was literally Roman aqueduct that was built 2,000 years ago. And it was the span of that aqueduct, the water from the reservoir actually had, the aqueduct had breaks and the water ran over open ground. And some of that open ground was cow pastures. So you can imagine where cows eat, cows do other things, and that's was actually got in the water supply. So the water supply in our village was very unsafe. So I really appreciate everything that you do, and especially in comparison, as mentioned, with other municipalities that have had problems. And my question was, as far as your water main breaks, how does KCK and BPU rank with the other cities in the metropolitan area?
Do you want this one or you want this?
well, Philip, you think you can tackle it?
I always think I could tackle it,
You-
but you have more
I'll
experience.
begin if you-
than me. When it comes to ranking, Kansas City, Kansas, Unified as an EPU, is an older city. We like to compare ourselves to Topeka. And even the thirties are probably really some. In that vein, we do have a self-economic rate. It is higher because our systems are older and our facilities are not that. How did we rank? There's some places that we could do a lot better. I really wish we could do a lot better, but I think we're also. But, I don't know.
Yeah, so we have come a long way. So we did our project in 14, and we replaced roughly 12 million, somewhere in that range of water main. We reduced our leaks by about 70 a year. I did a return on value on that, and on those 70 leaks, you've spread out over like 40 years, it's like $30 million savings. So that's how much we saved by that $14 million over that. So we've come a long way, or what we're not where we want to be. We want to continue. So when I leave in the next couple of years, my staff will be taking over and they'll continue to try to get the system back where we need to be. But we're definitely heading in the right direction. So.
I want to make sure I'm clear. So lead pipes are no longer an issue in KCK houses.
So where the portion I'm talking about is, I'm gonna use this direction here. Yeah, I'm only talking about our research is from the water main to about where that pipe first entered the house. To the best of my knowledge, the best of the information available was unclosed, year the house was built. That is correct. Like, we haven't found that evidence. Now, that's not to say there's not some house out there that never gave us the information that's possible. In that case, we have to work.
So, well, then the other thing, I think, Marshall, correct me if I'm wrong, Philip mentioned earlier, a lot of the homes we didn't have information on, or we didn't know where something was. We went out, physically visited those, excavated them, inspected them to get the right information. And Marshall, how many houses did y'all touch?
I think it was around 11,000. Yeah.
So 11,000 field verifications out of the, 57-ish thousand records. And again, all of it done with their own in-house labor. And when Steve says, it included everybody up to and including him, I walked in his office, he's sitting there combing through. Philip provided weekly updates. He made it kind of a competition. He had a sort of a scorecard up and everybody could see where they were, how many they had completed, what they had left, who was completing what percentage, and sort of tried to make a little fun out of it, because it was a hell of a lot of work to be bolted on to their already hectic work schedule.
I just wanted to make it clear, when we talk about, they're talking about lead pipes. But we do have programs in our unified government where we're dealing with lead paint. We deal with lead abatement, so that's a different issue. When we're talking about the water supply, the water pipes, we don't have to worry about lead as much. But when you dealing with lead, there is an issue with lead being in the paint in old houses, and some of those houses being demolished and left there and contaminating the soil around it and causing a danger to the public. So there are two different things when we talk about safety.
But we were really fortunate that the plumbers of the past, when they were deciding on what material to use, that they selected galvanized and copper, plastic as it got into the 70s. They didn't choose lead. Like I said, 36 years, I've seen one lead service. As soon as we found it, we replaced it. It was on the customer side. And I didn't know what to expect when we did this project, because we found that one lead. Now we replaced that. That was a main replacement. No one other house on that street had lead service line. So, but I was worried about around it. Could we have more? Did not find any.
I spent a lot of time over there. For a few years ago, they had a huge problem. They called it red water. You turn on the faucet and the water would come out red. I don't know what that was about, but.
And that's where we really talk about having our horizontal collectors. The sheer fact that we're not pulling surface water directly, our treatment process is so consistent and are automated, but it really allows us to make certain we don't have those type of issues. That is treatment color.
So Topeka has a lot of unlined water mains, and they're older. We have them too. We have some old unlined. But if you're, I know they had areas that they had really trouble. I have a lot of family up there that had brought through this issue of red water lines, and I know they made a big effort in trying to replace some of those mains. But like, we're fortunate, we have a really good control of our lining. So we build up a lining inside our pipe. That's a good thing. When you talk about Flint, Michigan probably had a really good lining, but what happened is they changed their water supply to another supply, and they lost their control of the chemistry, and it broke down their lining in their pipes, and it started exposing their lead. And that's where, and they're not alone. It's come out in a lot of states, but I'm gonna tell you, we are very fortunate for this county not to have these lead lines, because it's going to be so expensive, because they've got to have them. I think it's 2037. Everyone's got to have it. There are cities that have hundreds of thousands of lead lines that they have to have out by 2037. Like I know they're like Denver is going to cost them billions of dollars to do that. And we're very fortunate for our customer base that the plumbers back in the day had wisdom, they did not use that yet.
You guys have any other questions for staff on this?
I have a question. I understand all the work's going on, all the projects and replacements and stuff, and that's all great. One of the things, as an ambassador, when I talk to people, they say they understand the water is good. You've been told that for years. the one complaint I hear from just about everyone I talk to, and Steve's gonna know what it is how come my water is so hard? And how come I can't do this? And how come I have to replace, if the water is so darn good, which it is, how come I have to replace my stuff more than my other people that live in other? My question is, how do I, as an ambassador, when I talk to those people, how do I address that with them?
Well, so that question goes back to, is we don't have any kind of softening at our plant. When they built the treatment plant, they did a survey and they asked, and I can't tell you, it was before my time of being in management, of how big a survey they did. But they did a survey of the community asking if they wanted to pay for that softening water, because it's a cost, it's a big cost. And they said no, they didn't want to pay for it. So at the time, the general manager and the water executive decided it wasn't worth the cost to make that infrastructure and a long time. It's a lot more labor intensity, a lot of haul off that you have to haul material off. So it's a lot more costly. I granted, I wish we could do that for our customers. My suggestion is, and we've looked at it, can we change it now? It's not feasible to do it. It's so expensive. It just wouldn't be fair to the customers to put that burden on them trying to update our plant to that. My suggestion is a lot cheaper to put a softener in. It really is.
We're talking about individual.
Individual at the house.
Their own.
Yeah. But our water is safe. It is in the hardness as we listed on here. It is hard. And we try to control what we can, but we will have that product. Like I said, it's what it is. It's still safe water just because it's hard.
I understand.
It's hard on dishwashers and ice machines. That's what it's hard on, right?
Yeah.
But it's not hard on us. It's actually the hard water is probably better for us.
I actually do not prefer soft water
Yeah, I'm the same way.
at all.
I've grown up this way. I don't like, I am,
And I never know
like
if I'm
the taste
weird
too.
because of that, but
yeah, I'm the same. I just got the taste for it and that is what we're up against.
And
That's built up on your shower head and your dish. That, you have to stay on top of that, that's for sure.
that's the question I get all the time.
Oh, I know. It is the number one question.
try to answer the question.
Well,
But he's gonna want to.
because if I say, well, several years ago,
You're gonna talk to
you decided.
you're gonna be
not to
answering somebody that
soften the
didn't
water.
participate in the survey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, so, because people have said, well, I said, do you have a softener? Well, I used to, and the question is, well, why did you get rid of it? Here's what they told me. And at least two people have told me this, very trustworthy, that, well, it worked for a little while, and then I lost all my pressure.
Yeah.
And then they said, I called BPU and said, got this pressure problem. They said, well, do you have a softener? And they said, yes, we do. And BPU said, well, then bypass it. So they bypassed it. They said, you got pressure? Yeah. So that's their issue is, even though we say, well, if you want soft water, put a softener in. Now they lose their pressure and then they call and say, they have a pressure problem. You know, how do you address that?
It is that ongoing maintenance with that softener that you'll have to deal with. I deal with my parents' house. They have a softener. I deal with it every 5-6 years. I have to totally flush it out, redo it all and redo it. And it's ongoing. That is. But I mean, my thing of it is to keep our costs down. That's what I would say. They try to keep the cost down. Because if we was to do that, we looked, I don't even want to quote this thing. It was a huge increase to go ahead and retrofit and try to do it. I mean, it was no way we were going to be able to do it. Yeah.
Well, that gives me some information. That's the issue.
Yeah.
That is one I literally have never run across
Wow.
at all.
That's priceless.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
I moved here 21 years ago. The first thing people said when I asked people was, the water here is really hard. You need to get a water softener. So we did, but.
Yeah, water pressure problems.
No.
Not yet, not
You,
yet.
I mean, if you maintain it and
Yeah.
do what you have, you'll never have a problem. It's, if you just put your water pressure, and it may go 10 years and not have a problem. If you don't do anything to it, you're eventually gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
yeah, and they never want
It
to.
has to be replaced. Everything has to happen.
Service.
Yes,
regularly.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it.
No, it is. I totally get it. That is, we're a bullseye with that. So, but yeah, it is, but you know, water is safe.
Drink as much as you want.
Yeah.
And it tastes a whole lot better than a lot of other places.
Oh, yes.
I have a question for you, Philip. So all of the manual records, you know, you paper records, you said you guys went, with, which I know you did, because
It
I know
is.
you guys have kept us abreast of this project. I presume, because we're going to have an interactive map that's available, to our customers, that those records have been automated at this point.
Yeah, so, or,
Or we have electronic.
yeah, they're all,
versions of
yeah,
that
they're-
at this point. Yeah, and so that undertaking in and of itself, you know, when we think about this, because, you know, and one of the reasons, you know, I kind of gave you guys a preamble tonight as to why, you know, I wanted, you know, to have these folks go over this, is because I'm so impressed by the water operation itself. And not every community has this, right? But just like the rest of us, you guys are out there in the community and you hear all kinds of things from folks, right? Not the least of which is, you know, BPU, we pay everybody too much. We, you know, we've got professional engineers on staff. We have, you know, chemists on the staff. We have, people who, like, you know, I said on the front, they're highly trained, right? And, you know, dare I say that some of these folks were getting for a steal. And I know it doesn't seem like that, but to keep this community's water supply safe, you know, we have to have that level of expertise. And that goes, you know, from the top all the way down. And so, you know, I want folks in the community to understand sort of the intricacies of our water supply. Because it's very easy to say everybody gets paid too much.
And that's just one side of our.
That's right, and that's just one side, right? And so, you know, but the reason why I asked Philip about the records is because you heard them say how many they had to go through manual records, right? And BPU in recent years, I mean, they are increasingly becoming more automated, relying on technology, you know, which is really, really important. You know, I'm confident you guys can point to tens, if not dozens, perhaps even into the hundreds of other municipal utilities in this country who all rely on paper records, manual processes, et cetera. And, you know, I haven't been on this board very long, you know, just a little over one term, but the increase that I've seen in that short period of time is really impressive. And that also comes at a price, right? And so, you know, our dear friend Rob, you know, in the back of the room is a member of our IT staff. And, you know, the projects that he and, you know, their team work on to try to, you know, bring this utility into the 21st century are impressive as well. And so, you know, just another reason why, because I know that we all run into all of the issues around how much money BPU pays on the road, all the time. So just wanted to sort of shout you guys out for, you know, what you guys do isn't easy. And, you know, I'm confident everybody in this room appreciates it, but, just want to obviously give you guys a chance to, you know, sort of showcase further, you know, all of the strides you guys have made. You know, and I know that what you guys presented tonight, they're huge projects. but I know it's like this much of what you guys are doing, so thank you.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to present tonight. It's always, we always like presenting water, so I didn't have to hesitate, saying you want to do it, they're like, we'll do it. Like I said, in my time at BPU, I've seen where there was like maybe one computer to no cell phones, to where maybe we got a pager, to where we're at now. The next thing that's gonna change how water and electric is done is AI. It is going to change this utility over the next 5-7 years. I wish, maybe I will.
Already here.
Oh, you guys said.
Maybe I will
What I
be
think
around.
I'm hearing is it's staying.
Yeah, maybe I will be now, but AI, I am so excited to see what happens with AI in the utility business. It's gonna be exciting. So,
For sure.
yeah, it's gonna make us better. I promise you, it'll make us better.
I'm not gonna lie, AI still significantly scares me.
Well, me too, but it's,
But you're right, I mean,
yeah, it does.
in the right hands, used the right way, it's a good thing.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
It's gonna predict, I've already seen the models, the case studies, it's gonna predict our leaks for us, and we're gonna know where to go to fix the leaks in the future.
That's right.
That's what, I saw a study last year that it predicted out in California, a city, it predicted 92% of their leaks within 100 foot of where they happened a year before. That's amazing.
For sure. It's sort of, so that last piece, you guys are welcome to stay, you certainly don't have to, but we'd love for you to, we're going where to go. You know, it popped into my mind while these guys were talking, and we're talking a little bit about, you know, the technology aspect of and how far BPU has come. Have you all had a chance to use the new BPU portal, the My Meter portal? And I would love to hear feedback on it.
I wasn't sure how it was gonna work, but it was pretty seamless. It just kind of showed up. I mean, it really just kind of, just kind of showed up, and it just kind of retained my information. It was really easy and simple to go through it. So I didn't know what to expect, but I was ready and everything. And when it all happened, but it was pretty seamless for mine, and I used the old system before as well. But I think it just kind of, again, you saw talking about AI, I think it just kind of know that intuitiveness, and it just kind of cycled through. So that was my experience. I didn't miss a beat, had everything there, and it just,
Do you find the information that's available in it useful?
I think the other one was pretty good. Like I said, even before when BPU came out and was doing, I would make it a part of the budgeting classes and workshops I would do. I'm like, read your BPU bill, make sure you're looking at what your usages are, so that was I kind of incorporated. So I'm like an old school BPU person that was during that piece of it. But I think the charts and everything, they're definitely nicer. I think when you look at them, they're definitely more appealing and everything. But I just wonder, like, how many people are taking it to that level. I'm just interested in that kind of stuff, and I want to know what's being used and everything. It's interesting that we have water tonight, because I do live in a 100-year-old house, and I do have a major plumbing issue, and it is because the water is so hard. So it's kind of messing with the pipe. So I'm finding that I did have some old lead piping, but now most of the house seems to be copper, and they've kind of replaced different pieces of it. But it is a 100-year-old house, and it is in the Northeast. So I'm really having a hard time finding a remodeling plumber. So this is a really good topic. So I'm glad you shared your conversations on this. But
You said lead.
well, the
Would it be
actual
galvanized?
galvanized,
Galvanized.
galvanized.
Totally
Yeah.
different.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is, but
totally different.
people don't like it. It's still no, it's about the same, really.
Yes.
It's about the same, trust me, when you're having someone come out and trying to get it paid for through your warranty, they don't care. But anyway, but to your point, I think it, is definitely, I think, more colorful. I think it brings information. I just wonder if people are receiving that and utilizing the information that it is bringing.
Right. Yeah, and I don't have any, I've heard people, talk about it about this much.
Right.
And I know that there was difficulty at first, and I think in large part because, there were so many people, trying to convert simultaneously, right? So it was a little bit slow going at the beginning. I haven't heard any of those complaints since then. I have heard some complaints about, the information and, perhaps, just gaps of information that are there. I haven't experienced that, but I always want to know what others are experiencing. Has anybody else had an opportunity to use it?
Do you think it because if they were already using the portal versus they just started, if that was, I would be interested to know.
Possibly, I mean,
if
I
they-
think the portal just like you.
Rob,
Right.
Rob could probably describe,
Oh, hey, Rob.
Yeah, yay.
Welcome.
Hello,
Educate
yes,
us.
the MDM and my meter portal project, both my projects and IT, so I ran them, so what was the question, I'm sorry? What did you want me to describe?
The gaps.
Yeah, if there were any
Oh.
gaps or people that had used, if they were already on the old portal versus the meter.
So we moved all 10 to 13 years of data, so all customer data got moved over to the new portal. So,
Right.
Or to the new MDM, so it's there. The portal only has 3 years of data backloaded into it. It will continue to build out from there. If there are any gaps in that 3 years of data, it's probably from the original write back. We did find a number of those, we've gone through and resolved those. But if any customers are still seeing gaps in their data, it would help us if you could report that to us, so we can go and look at the account and get that data pulled out of the new MDM and sent over to the new portal. But most of those should be resolved by now.
And then my other question was just that the people that were already on the system, do you think it was a smoother transition for us? Or do you think it really?
So from our login and registration review, it looks like about 80 to 90% of people that are in the new portal were using. So, which is kind of what we expect.
Right, that makes
Right, so people that are comfortable with computers and comfortable with going in and logging in, and that's how they want to manage their account. They were comfortable with the new portal too. We haven't really had a whole lot of questions or complaints. The number one struggle so far has been getting registered for it initially. And that was some technical restrictions on that, the way that vendor walks through the registration process. Making sure like the names and everything are an exact match to what's on your billing statement. And BPU has struggled because we have not had a single standard for naming conventions for people's names in our system. So some people have their full middle name, some people have initials, some people have no middle name or initial. And so it on a case-by-case basis, it makes it a little bit more difficult to go and look up the individual accounts and say, okay, for you specifically, you don't, right, or something like that. Now that we've gotten past the original, 6 weeks of the deployment, where most people that are using it are in there, we've seen registrations drop off considerably. We're only at about 28 or 30,000 registered accounts out of the total 98,000 that could possibly be. We have deployed the iPhone mobile app, so that is available in the iPhone store. Search for KCBPU and you can download it. And we have deployed the iPhone mobile app. It's out there. Search KCBPU and you should see the yellow or the green and blue BPU shield. That's the one you want to download. The Google app is also complete and ready to launch. We submitted it to Google and Google rejected it. They have a problem with our privacy policy, so I've got to route the privacy policy through our policy committee, which is not, yeah. Google has objection to our privacy policy as it's written now. I need some changes to it, so I've got one last Hail Mary to try to get this solved without taking it to the policy committee for revision. If that doesn't work, the next step is to take it to the policy committee for revision. So I think that the Google app will be out within 6 months. Maybe sooner if I can solve this issue with Google without taking it to the policy committee. If I have to go to the policy committee, it's going to take me one.
How many would you like to see in the portal?
I would love to see everybody in the portal.
98,000.
98,000, that's right. That's what I sized it for, that's what we built it for, that's what I would like to see.
Well, I'll try again. I had problems with the registering, so
So
I just gave it up.
you heard what he said.
Yeah.
So like just match your name exactly as it is on your bill. I've heard that multiple times now.
So I'll try.
And if you're still struggling, then reach out to customer service and we can help you get registered. There are going to be some new features released at the end of August. I just saw them showcased Thursday of last week. One of those new features is the customer service representatives are going to get a button where they can send a registration email to a customer by just entering their information and simplify the registration process for customers. That was something that my meter noticed was useful during our implementation.
Yeah.
And somebody on our team made a recommendation of why can't I just send a registration email? And the thing that I really like about our new portal vendor is they're like, hey, that's a great idea. We're going to develop that and then we're going to release that to all of our customers for free. right? So it's been a very good company to partner with because they've taken a lot of our feedback to make enhancements to it.
So are we getting a discount for providing them that valuable?
Well, we're not getting charged for the new features as they roll out either. With our last winter,
I'll take that.
every single change we wanted to make cost us money.
Um,
One of the things that we do in the technology group and really in the operations groups too, we are really becoming more reliant on automation, just the efficiency of pushing data. So one of the things you as ambassadors can do when you're out in your community and you're out talking to your neighborhood groups and so on and so forth, it's very important that we have accurate and up-to-date phone numbers because some of our system recognition goes off of phone numbers. We have other systems that Marshall's team, the electric team, if they're gonna be in an area working, they can sort of grab a geofence from the map. All those accounts that are within that, they can just send them an automated message. Hey, we're gonna have your lights off tomorrow. We're gonna disrupt your water service tomorrow from this time to this time. Our cleanup's gonna take 2 or 3 days, whatever it is, but if we don't have good contact information, customers miss those notifications, that information from us, so. That's one of the biggest helps you can give us out in the community from the communication standpoint is being sure that you're having folks make sure we have the right contact information for them.
Another thing that I'd like to point out specifically for the ambassadors, which you go to the community and talk to the community members. The old portal, we had a portal for our C&I commercial and industrial customers. We had a portal for residents. Now we have a single portal for everybody. So if you run into those instances where people are like, oh, the C&I customers, they get special treatment. They get their own portal, they get their own focus, they get their own contact information. So to our residents, you guys are in one portal. You have the entire CSR group waiting to support you, where, that's a team of like 13, 14 people, I think, on the second floor, where Al's group is 2 people answering issues for the C&I customers, right? So, if anybody feels like, that we're not treating the residents the same as we treat our C&I customers, one of the things we did with our portal project was we went to a single portal, so there's less for IT to maintain, and we make sure that all customers are getting the same users.
Possible, like as they're reading or as you're like looking at the systems, because I know a lot of our families they're very transient, and so the phone numbers may not be as accurate or whatever. So is there a way to, like the email probably is going to be, or even Facebook, or even your, other accounts, they may be around a lot longer than that actual phone number. Because you're saying, like, I know family, I mean, I can't even keep up. And so the best thing that I do when I'm doing my court order parents, it's like that email is my main contact because that phone is just not the best system. So do you have a way to get like a check and balance, or they can kind of one or the other or both? Or like you said, when you were talking about that recognition, because I just, some of our folks are very transient and that phone is something, and I wish that we could change that, but they have the Google numbers and they have, and those, I mean, all
The
those
thing we
things.
did for the residential customers for the original registration, instead of using their phone number, we used their birthday. So that it was a number that didn't change, because we do know that the data, NIT, we refer that as a data quality issue,
Yes.
right? The data's there, it's in one piece, got the right number of digits, it was correct at one time, but it has changed, it's not been updated, right? So that's a data quality issue as far as IT is concerned, that causes a user experience issue when they can no longer log into the system or access the system for your registry. So we do try to pick data elements to reduce that as much as we can. And we've tried to add on-screen instructions to help them get through the registration process. It eliminated about 95% of the calls, but it's impossible to eliminate all,
Right.
just because the right way to fix it is to fix the data quality.
And even with some of those, like those, the birth dates or whatever, because if you don't, you really have to tell them, like if you want the 2 digits for the, if like for the month and for
we
the
did
date
2,
or whatever,
2,
you-
4,
right,
right?
yeah,
So
you have
so
to,
we had to
and they'll
spell
hold
that
it
out.
here, right, you really need to tell that, because that can also cause a lot of problems, so that's good. I'm glad that you have another option, because that's a really big problem.
So our customer service department, Jenna and her group, with Gabby and their team, were the ones that specifically were against this using the phone per se.
Smart.
Well, and it's because they field phone calls, right?
Right,
So they're like,
trust me,
you
trust
put a
me.
phone number on there, Rob, and I get 1,000 phone calls, I'm gonna murder you. So, That's customer service team, and that IT relies very heavily, like Philip is our, and Marshall both are two of our key resources for the IT department, for all of our technology projects. And they give us feedback from the business to help us understand what the field is like, what customers are seeing, how operations does their thing, right? Make sure that what we're doing is in support and not creating new problems for them.
So is this my meter? I haven't heard of this before. Is this my meter taking the place of what you had as Energy Engage?
So, yeah.
Is it in addition to, or they separate? How's that divided out?
So the old portal was Kayenta Self-Service or CSS, and then within Kayenta Self-Service, Energy Engage was a portlet that was served up within one of the screens. This new My Meter portal replaces all of that. It replaces the CSS.
My meter replaces all of those other things.
It replaced CSS, it replaced Energy Engage, and it replaced MB Web, which was the C&I portal.
Okay, so I pay my bill, the bank graph. I have not seen this.
If you're automated and you're billing, if you pay with bank draft automatically, then isn't really a need for you to log into it. If you don't want to check unless you wanted to go check your usage or update your information or something like that. But
So, okay, so I'm a neighborhood leader. There's 1,200 homes in my neighborhood. And they all have my phone number. And what does my meter mean? I'm thinking, don't know.
yeah, so My Meter is the new portal, and I can pull it up on that main screen here just a minute.
That's the app version of it, Norm, but that like shows everything you current use, last month's usage to date right now.
I could just see, I mean, we got people with VHS machines still blinking 12. Come on. You know, it's just,
So this is,
Well, that's just the app version, and especially the mobile version. of it.
this is My Meter. I'm not going to put it on the share because this is my personal information and I don't want to give.
I
But
mean, I'll look it up, I'll figure it out, but I didn't know about it.
yeah, it's out there now and it's linked from our website. So when you go to the bpu.com website,
Did we do a My Meter thing in?
I think.
Yes, we did.
We did.
Yeah.
We did, connections.
Yeah, one of the,
Well, I'll find it and I'll email it to you.
So this is our website, Norm, and on the top right-hand account, if you click My Account, it will take you out to My Meter, and then you'll get the chance to log in from there. So anybody that clicks, we replaced all the links from the old portal to automatically route you to the new one, but you will have to register the first time you go out to use it. That'll be true for every single customer.
Well, I appreciate the technology, but, we get way ahead of my neighbors,
Yeah, so
We get
it's,
to know our,
way ahead of.
get to know our account number that comes on our bill in order to register.
Yes.
yes,
So your
you
account
do.
number and your name, as it appears on your bill.
There are, I believe there are 8 data fields. I'm not gonna be able to get to the screen here, so let me pull it up on my phone real quick.
I've tried to
Exactly.
explain CCFs to them.
So when you click the registration link out here, it'll ask for your
These people are
registration
not there.
code, which is your birthday.
But you
And that's a month, day, year.
actually just have Mary to show you.
Name on the account,
Do what?
your
Very
account
certain.
number
Yeah, I have her come out.
Have Rose show you.
on account,
Rose is
account
Rose
number,
is yours.
email. You'll have to enter your password. Allows me to set a
It should come out.
with the answer.
She's in your district.
I have to write everything down.
Wow.
I'm still.
And it will remember, you can tell it to remember. And all
Oh,
that
you
stuff,
should
that
log it.
helps, 'cause I'm just.
I'll have to do it on my computer since you don't have an Android app yet.
Not yet, but I will soon, hopefully.
Rob likes hearing how Android's better than iPhone.
Yeah.
I just need my phone to phone, man. That's all I need.
All right, well, I know we've gone a little bit over time tonight, which is fine, and I appreciate you guys saying that. Did you guys have any other issues that you wanted to bring to the committee tonight?
I do.
Go on.
NBRs.
Yes.
This is a very good topic to have the NBRs here and take it to their neighborhoods and explain it.
Okay, that's a good thing.
We do that.
Don't we go every month? Don't we go every month to the NBR?
We do. We could see about getting them here, have Nick to bring them here, and we could do a presentation like this for them. Actually, probably.
The little neighborhoods, you know, they still do their monthly. That
Right.
would be-
So
Yeah,
we
that
could-
would, yeah.
We could probably,
Because they do it, in person and virtual,
Yeah.
and then you could get to, I mean, like a mass group versus trying to go to each
Sure.
individual.
So if we hosted that here, right, either in person, I guess depending on how many people, but and virtual, you think we could reach?
Or
Well,
go
we're
to the
saying
little
Little
neighborhood
Neighborhoods
meetings.
is already meeting every month, and they have speakers that come in, so let this be one of the topics. And then you can always post one, but I'm just trying to, you know,
That would be an
they're already
awesome
used
thing to do
to,
to have.
you know, hearing from them. And, so it's.
Have
would just be
have a
nice.
representative there every month.
Yes.
So how many active neighborhood groups are in them now?
Well, I think they are, and since COVID or whatever, but everybody's still active, it's just like, and they're still receiving information and all the neighborhood associations. If you want them to call your groups, they'll call you and let you know when the meetings are, but how active they are, I think they're kind of on the build since COVID.
It'd be ours.
But, yeah, but they do host them monthly and people are starting to come in person and online. So in event you go every month pretty much, or do you kind of?
There's over 60 people on that.
Yeah, so it's slowly coming, it's a good little group, and like I said, I think it would be worth it for someone to have that conversation. And they're usually pretty good about getting you on, I know like Matt May did, a couple months ago, he did emergency preparedness. He was there, so, you know, so they're
So
used to
they
it.
only have one topic a night?
I don't know if they.
No, sometimes they have two.
They do have
They-
two,
they've
I don't think they're limited.
Nick knows, Nick usually goes to the.
Nick comes,
Yeah.
so what we can do is talk to Nick about,
Yeah,
how we either get on the broadcast or how do we host
he
one and broadcast it ourselves. And then, you know, we could solicit topic ideas, or we could start with the My Meter topic and see what happens from there. Maybe we can get on the schedule, you know,
I know.
every
And
second
the only
month.
reason I was
every quarter.
asking, like, if, because what, you know, what I would like is there to be, because I feel like, we hear this, right, a lot. I want there to be just a BPU focus, right? And so like, I don't want it split up with, here's another topic for tonight too. I want people to focus on the BPU issues that we think, and this committee thinks, you guys are hearing, we're hearing in the community, that will be helpful information. You know, I mean, and I know that, you know, I'll go back to the, you know, the tree trimming presentation we got, right? And sort of some of that. I mean, even this simple sheet of, hey, here's your responsibility, here's BPU's responsibility, you know, water, electric, et cetera. That stuff is useful information, right? Because people just, they either don't know and or, you know, or are confused, or, you know, it's just not communicated well, maybe by BPU. So
I
that's
think if
always.
you talk to the ladies and if you want that to be the main focus, that
But if
conversation.
they'd rather it the other way, then.
No, I
No,
think,
no.
no, they're open, they're really flexible, they're all about, I mean, they're the grassroots part of the community, and it's a safe space for people to come in and share concerns, and I think this is a valuable concern, and then also you can, I mean, I think it would be a good audience and receive it, because like you said, the people that need to be there are the ones that are there, that are passionate and that are impactful in their communities. So if they're hearing it firsthand from BPU and these industries too, firsthand, it's gonna be a positive because they already trust the environment. So you bring the topic in and it's coming from, they already have that. It's
So
gonna
how do
be
we-
trusted.
It's like 15 groups that report out every monthly. It's 15 standard groups. BPU is one of them. So all you have to do is request, through Kayla
Yeah.
that you want to, do an actual
Yeah.
presentation, and she'll put it on the schedule.
What I'd like to try to explore as well, if we're gonna try to make a better focus initiative to get relevant topic information out, is how do we sort of solicit the participants that are already there in the topics they would like to see, or the information they would like to receive, so that we don't come out with something that doesn't answer anybody's questions or doesn't use the
It'd
time.
be a waste of time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Time.
Oh, they have an email. Yeah, you know, do a survey.
Okay,
You've got to connect to the lowest common denominator.
that's
That's
what
what
I'm-
I'm trying to say. These are not computer, I mean, there's a lot of people there that are computer savvy, you know, with their phones or their computers or whatever, but there's a whole lot of them that are not getting.
yeah, I definitely think this is a good topic. I'm just saying, what else is out there that's sort of that common reoccurring question that we could provide information on to.
And just see what your priorities are. Like I said, if you're really, I know we would love to have 98,000, but if that's something realistic, I think this is a good way to start talking about that. And even having, you know, tutorials on how to do that or whatever for folks, like you said, because people that are there, you know, I mean, it'd be nice if someone could really help them to do that or have like some ambassadors out there in the community that are trained that can also help them when they come into, you know, a center. If they're coming across line, they're already coming into Frank Williams, they're already coming in different places, centers, looking for things, you know, that might be something that can be helpful that they're already doing. The caseworkers are already doing this kind of work anyway and helping them. So it would be nice if they knew about how to best serve.
I'll get with, Nick, Patrice and Abby, and we'll come up with, a way to facilitate this.
Yeah, that's like the most common calls I got lately in like the last 2 weeks. That is not even our issue. It's, they didn't pick up their trash or their recycling. And people, you know, they don't know that it's the unified government, it's not us, but, you know, I can tell them, here's what, you know, I have a
Well,
little
and even the
spiel
bill,
of what
we
we
talked about, you know, how specific the bill is now, right? And that information is on there, and those numbers are on there to call, they're not UP's number,
Yeah.
right? And that information is available, but just to educate.
There's a lot of people that Norm has said and what you need to do.
They're not looking, you guys, they're not looking, they just wanna,
No, they just want an answer
they wanna
about,
answer and they wanna be able to, yeah, to just shout it out. But yeah, but like you said, I mean, but it is, I'm glad that it is available.
well, I usually try to, I usually tell them to email their commissioner. Most of them, not most of them, but a lot of them don't know who their commissioner is.
I can email their commissioner for them.
Well, then if they have no idea who their commissioner is, then I usually email their commissioner. Sometimes I receive a, you know, no back, sometimes I don't. But this one particular lady that I talked to several times was, she said she wasn't totally disabled, but to get her trash to the curb was difficult. You know, if she didn't have a grandchild or somebody there. And, I told her, I said, leave it and we'll keep our fingers crossed that they'll come. Was a Saturday, but they did. I called her back on Saturday and they had picked it up, so. Because if they didn't, I was gonna drive over there and pick it up.
But people don't have their neighbors out anymore.
People don't know their neighbors anymore.
Yeah. But that's
And I'm old
something
now, I
that
have
we
people
can
older
always.
than me, but I don't know.
Yeah. I want you my neighbor, I don't want you disparaging.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, but it's situations like that though, whatever, but I encourage them to, I'm like, call 311 or whatever, and I know some communities, I'm not sure, and since they, you know, they have this new company now that they're using for the trash, and I know sometimes that there's a way to, I think, to maybe identify that house that they can come out or whatever, but I know the trash collectors in my area, they're pretty good about like, going and getting things or whatever, but like you said, I wonder if there's a way that we can talk to them, so if we do have an elderly, there's like, you know, like a little code or a little stamp or something that we can put on that house to let them know that, yeah, that trash needs to go, but they're having, you know, mobility issues or, you know, just accessibility issues.
Well, and I do have good luck with 311.
311 is good, they're on it,
They will
yeah.
come out eventually and get it.
Put it on my Wyco app
I do too.
6 times in the last, whatever,
And it doesn't work.
every time it works.
It
Yeah.
does work. On the
Absolutely.
If you don't wanna call, you can definitely,
Okay,
I've done that
I
too.
just tell
I know
everybody.
it seems like I don't want to talk to people, but sometimes I.
That's okay. But we just wanna make sure people are being, yeah.
The 311 operators know me personally now, I think.
So on a lighter note, I did listen, I heard on APR that, so this, the EPA and all that with utilities, they are really seem very confident that that's gonna happen. And I know they talked about, that little small piece over there that's gonna be for, hopefully for, energy efficiency. So I did hear that on NPR this morning. I heard it on NPR this morning, so I kind of follow them. I trust them. So hopefully that will happen and everything, and that will get kind of filtered down. Because like I said, over and over in these meetings or whatever, we have a lot of older homes in this community, and until we can get them up to standard or whatever, we're gonna always have these utilities issues or whatever. And then people not being educated on how to, well, hopefully once that the home is more efficient, it's gonna be a lot easier to maintain that. And I've said that over and over again. And I wish there was a way to be able to, to track that. But until we can do things like that, and then of course, things you can't control is having enough money to be able to deal with the uprising. But I am seeing things slowly coming back down. So I'm hoping that it's all gonna, end up in the right way. And then we'll be able to make more money. And then, like I said, our homes will be more energy efficient and we'll be able to cover some of these costs. But so I'm hoping that that money is gonna come down and it's gonna go throughout.
I'm just.
And you're staying on that, right? Well, I'm
Well,
looking at you now, you on it, right?
But I'm a realist because,
You're supposed to be on it, Rose.
my day job is I work in regulatory as well. And
Right.
like, literally nothing's going to happen until this election. Nothing. And that's sad, but it's
Yeah.
true. And I wish it were different. I know. And welcome to election year.
I know, I was in DC last week for a conference and I almost went into the EPA building and be like, hey, is that bill gonna happen? Don't forget Kansas and everything, but I didn't do it.
I used to work.
I didn't do that. I know it was
When it
amazing.
was
I know.
IRS.
Oh, really? It's a pretty nice building,
Oh, yeah.
nice flowers and everything. But, yeah, I did think about it,
So
Rose,
maybe
just so
like
you
y'all
know.
do, the landscaping and maybe break that money off and give it.
They have a nice education on why pollination is important and everything right outside the EPA building, and I thought that was very, very, very worthwhile. I'm just saying. Happy
I am very happy that you guys are getting money back to the government. Fix the water lines.
Yeah,
This was an issue when I was here.
It's gonna be an issue for a long time
I'm
for a
so
lot of
glad.
utilities.
at least you're identifying it, you know where the areas are. Like I said, we definitely don't want to be that city that's all over the country. And like a plant in Jackson, Mississippi, we don't want to be those cities. We're not, and,
Well, I don't wanna make this political, but I'm telling you, Sharice Davis has helped this community, and that's like every chance she gets, Sharice really does try to,
She's a warrior.
she was helpful, I think, on the water, her and
No,
Moran.
Now, Jerry Moran is the one who helped us support,
Right.
Sharice helped us get a generator for Nearman treatment plant.
Yeah.
The thing about the importance of that treatment plant, we're an electric utility too, we're very fortunate in that, okay? So we get quick response if we lose power if we lose power, we get quick response, but having this generator is gonna make life a lot easier for us, lots less stressful. Because the deal with the water plant is we're 24/7, that's the only plant we have.
Now, you can't be
We
down.
can't be down, and we have only hours to be back online. So having this generator is gonna take huge risks off of us of having, and it's actually 2 generators to run the whole plant and to run the collector wells.
That's how my basement feels, Steve, so.
Yeah, so like I said, so we're very, we've really got help from the federal government helping us
Yeah,
with
that's
these grants. This community finally got really good. And I also just read we got something for 18th Street for the KCK got a big.
So I
grant
asked
for that.
about that. That was awarded to KCK, but it was awarded, to KDOT.
Today, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
That's 60 million?
yes.
we inquired, as to were we gonna be able to maybe ship some of our main replacement that's attached to the
Right.
bridge and included in that proposal, but it's not, it wasn't money that was given to you by government. getting paid out. So
Well, hopefully,
we might. be able to-
hopefully we will
Do they
squeeze
want
through
to go
there and
out?
they won't send us a bill. Cause they're the ones,
We're, we still got some shots. to take,
yeah, we're,
but,
we're working on it.
But we're asking.
Last don't get.
That's,
Don't ask, don't get, because one thing we know is, we're not getting any from Topeka.
And I don't even know we have to do a vote. We didn't take a roll call. I don't think we have to motion to adjourn, but.
Just go.
Yeah. Okay, Rob, we're done. No, but thank you guys all for coming again.